Hi everyone, I am Dan Lomar, CFP professional with United Wealth Management, where we specialize in PR management and financial planning for pilots at United Airlines. And like many of you, my business partner, Alan Bealey, and I are both pilots for United. Welcome back to another video. And thank you for your positive feedback you provided on previous videos. That goes a long ways in keeping them coming out. Today I'm talking about the final year checklist. So things to think about as you prepare for retirement in the 1 to 2 years ahead of time as that is coming up. And this checklist is part of our longer retirement transition guide, which still is in progress. We expect to have that out here before too long. But that retirement transition guide is going to be a little bit more in-depth guide on things to consider. So not just the straight facts on Social Security or Medicare. It'll try to offer some perspective on how to help you make those decisions. But a little bit longer document there, and it leads off with this final year checklist, and that's what we're going through today. If you want to get a copy of this, I'll have a link in the show notes on YouTube. And if you want to get a copy of the retirement transition guide, hey, contact us through our website on the contact page, or even just email us at clientservice@unitedwealthmanagement.com. And that way, when we get that thing out, we'll just be sure to send it to you directly. So again, we're talking about the the final year retirement checklist today. And before we get into it, remember, subscribe, hit the bell icon so that you know when new videos come out. And most importantly, share this video, share it on Facebook, post it on the forum, LinkedIn, email it to our fellow pilots just to get the word out there. Because I always say, hey, those who need to watch it the most are probably not the ones watching it. So anyway, I appreciate that. And let's get into it. So first thing, what we're talking about is, even though it's called the final year checklist, we actually start doing some of this stuff as early as 5 to 10 years ahead of time. Because we're starting to look at retirement income projections, building the portfolio, produce income and stuff like that. But let's just say, hey, look, 1 to 2 years before you start to retire, and what are some of the things you want to start to think about? One's getting organized, starting to get your documents together. Social Security for you and your spouse, get your PBGC estimates for age 65 and 70. Know what your CPRP benefits are. If you haven't started military retirement yet, hey, what's your military retirement going to be? Any other pensions and annuities that are going to be available. Start getting that stuff organized so that you can start to get an idea of what your retirement income is starting to look like. And then that's the next part. The core part of our financial planning is really starting to do a retirement income projection so that we can start to see what that looks like, and we can start to make decisions based on how we want that to be different. It can help us make decisions on, are we going to upgrade in the past 5 years? Are we going to continue to have RHA spillover? Are we, just different funding things? And again, that starts to drive different investment decisions and how we allocate the portfolio and stuff like that. So really start assessing your retirement income strategy as well. You might want to start thinking about survivor benefit options. Hey, how should I take the PBGC, straight life annuity, 100% survivor, 50% survivor, and any other pension options you got, just so you start looking at that stuff. And also assessing, when you take Social Security has a fact and impact on what your survivor benefits look like and stuff like that. And then start getting an idea of what your medical coverage is going to look like. Hey, do you want to use the United plan? Are you going to be on TRICARE? That could change what your what your medical costs are going to be. Are you going to be on the Alpha plan? So start to think about that stuff ahead of time just to get your hands wrapped around that and get an idea what that's going to be. And then the other thing too is attend the R&I retirement seminars. Those things are awesome. They do a great job of kind of laying out the groundwork. Really, what I'm doing here and what I do in the transition guide, the difference on the transition guides, I do try to elaborate a little bit more and give things a few more things to consider. But either way, those retirement seminars are really good. And if you can't attend one, hey, watch some of the videos. Again, as you start to hear this stuff, all this stuff will start be more and more familiar to you the more that you hear it. And then the other thing too is, are you gonna be working after you leave United? Maybe you're going to start thinking about that and start getting stuff like that lined up. But some people say I'm absolutely going to work, and some people say I don't care what my income is. There's no way I'm working. So anyway, those are just some things to think about. So as we really get into the final year, we're talking about what's the first thing to do? Really, it's not really the first thing to do. There's no real particular order on this, but open enrollment. Do you have to do anything different on open enrollment the year before you retire? Not really. You're still going to make your normal benefits healthcare selections just like you normally do. You might start to get a lot more advertisements around that time of year from Medicare Advantage and Medicare plans and stuff like that. As far as I know, unless you're in a unique situation, hey, you're going to be on United Retire Health. You're going to be on United's healthcare all the way up until the end of your birth month. So just kind of keep that in mind. Those Medicare Advantage plans are going to be reaching out early and often, so nothing need to do there. But open enrollment's normal. You might consider enrolling in MetLife Legal Services just in case there are any legal things you need to take care of. Maybe you got to do your estate planning, any other legal matter. So just to keep something to keep in mind there. I think it's $16 a month. And what that plan does, it provides a network of attorneys that you can tap into and get some of the basic estate planning stuff covered at a very acceptable cost, if any. So I think it's a complimentary service once you're enrolled in that. Some would say an open enrollment, hey, maybe you want to fund your flex spending account because if you retire early in the month, you're only going to fund it with a couple months of pay or however long you're working, but you can bill it for the entire year's amount. Just something. To me, it's not a big deal, especially if you got a lot of money in your active HRA. You can pull from there as well, but some people say it's a consideration is to fund your flex spending out. To me, it's not a big, typically not a big deal. So in December before you retire, really two big decisions you got to make there, two big opportunities right there. And that is one, in December, the PRAP Service Center is going to come out with an email that says that you can elect your first 21 days up to your first 21 days of vacation that's forfeited. You can elect that to go directly into the retiree health account. We do this every year. That's not just a retirement thing, but it comes out every December. So if that interests you and you want to make sure that you fund your RHA with the first 21 days of forfeited vacation when you retire, you can make that election there, and that's what will happen. If you don't make the selection, those first 21 days go into the PRAP. If the PRAP is full, it flows into the RHA anyway. So even if you miss the election and your PRAP's going to be full in the month that you retire, it's going to go in there anyway. So that's just something to keep in mind. And that's what that email is about. They come out in early December and make that announcement, and then you make the election on the PRAP website all the way through the end of December. So keep that in mind. And then the last thing too, again, for December is on the PRAP website, hey, decide what your PRAP contributions are going to be. Maybe you want to make Roth contributions in your final year because you're retiring early in the year and your income is going to be lower. So that's something to think about. Otherwise, maybe traditional is still the best thing for you because you plan on working a lot the last year. So a lot of things to consider there. And then also same thing is how much spillover, RHA spillover do you want to have in your final year? In a couple years, when we have the cash balance plan, it might be a little bit different decision. But right now, we still just have the RHA. I'm doing this video in January 2025. So anyway, those are some things to think about is getting those elections set up in December so that they are ready to go on your first paycheck in January. So it's something you would do in December. All right, next thing, moving on to January. Before you retire, and again, this is not necessarily January before you retire. It is the January before your final vacation bid cycle. Okay, so remember, vacation bid cycle goes May through April. So if you're retiring in January through April of the following year, then this would apply. It's actually the January before the year that you retire. And you're going to elect the number of vacation days that you want to take. By default, the days that you don't take are forfeited. And then those will, again, pay out in your final paycheck, the first 21 days going into the PRAP. If the PRAP's full, they flow into the RHA. So that's something to keep in mind as you do this. But keep in mind, and the big thing here is it's not just the January before you retire. It might be it's the January before your final vacation bid cycle. So keep that in mind. Just did a video on that to kind of talk about a few different things. And just kind of give you some idea of what that looks like as far as vacation bidding in your final year. I'm not going to get into great details now, but that is out there if you want to watch it. All right, moving on. 3 to 4 months before retirement. Hey, if you before you retire, hey, if you want a retirement photo, I believe the R&I committee takes care of that as far as ordering those. Don't know the exact details, so you might contact someone on the R&I committee, or just talk to the front desk and see who's taking care of those things. The front desk at your chief pilot's office, if you want to get that going. But anyway, you'd want to do that 3 or 4 months out, so people can come by and put their signature on there and all the good memories you've had over the years. Social Security and PBGC, big thing to keep in mind here is that if you want those to start, or CPRP, if you want those things to start the month you retire or the month after you retire, keep in mind that it takes 3 to 4 months for those things to actually start paying from the time that you file. So, lead turn that quite a bit if you don't want a gap between your working income and those two sources of income. This is not a suggestion to say that to take PBGC or Social Security sooner or later. Just know that it takes 3 to 4 months for those things to kick in. Medicare enrollment, this is the big one. That really is the big foot stomper here. Is don't miss your Medicare enrollment. The window opens 3 calendar months before you turn 65. You can do it also the month you turn 65, and you actually can go all the way out to 3 months after you turn 65. Wouldn't do that. I would guess get enrolled in Medicare basically as soon as you can. Coverage doesn't start until the first of the month that you turn 65. And just get that going, because you'll get a Medicare enrollment number, and you will need that when you choose subsequent retiree health insurance, whether you're staying on the United plan or whatever, is they're going to want your Medicare enrollment number. So get that taken care of. Let me see. Consider any dental or vision care visits in the last couple months, because Medicare does not cover dental or vision, and then even the United Retired Healthcare, the Aetna ESA PPO, it does not provide dental or vision care. You can get it through some Medicare Advantage policies or supplemental policies. You can get it, but just know it's not automatically provided. So if you want to take care of those visits ahead of time in the last few months that you retired, just get that taken care of. And then consider opting out of long-term disability when you're within 60 days of retirement, because long-term disability has a 60-day elimination period, and then you would hope, your sick bank might be sufficient to cover it between now and then, between those last 60 days. But I say consider. I used to say just opt out, 60 days out. The only thing I would say into consideration now, rather than just doing it automatically, I don't think it's going to be a factor, but last year when the age 67 thing was rolling around, I would have been hesitant to opt out of long-term disability until I knew exactly what the ruling was on the age 67. I would hate to opt out and then turn around 2 months later and find out, hey, I can actually work till 67. It doesn't seem to be a factor right now. I think that's off the table for a while, but that's just something to keep in mind. 1 to 2 months before retire, if you are retiring before age 65, then you got to give at least 10 days notice of your retirement. Otherwise, you're going to be losing your accrued vacation. There's no notification required if you're retiring at age 65. They just plan on it. But again, just kind of keep that in mind on your retirement notification to management. 1 to 2 months out, probably want to start arranging the details of your retirement flight, asking about the benefits, who gets to come along, where you get to go, how it works with the reserve, picking trips and stuff like that. So I'd probably start lead turning that a month or two ahead of time. Remember to submit active HRA expenses sooner rather than later, because your active HRA rolls into the RHA within 60 days of the time you retire. And once it's in the RHA, you cannot submit expenses that occurred while you were active. So make sure you wrap up all your expenses in the active HRA while that's still available to you. If you're using United email, United.com email for anything, just be aware that goes away. In your retirement month, I'm not going to get into bidding or anything like that, but PBS will not award a trip that rides past 0-100 the day prior to your 65th birthday. Gives you a little bit of slop and delays or whatever. So plan that accordingly. And then in your birth month, your birthday, and then every day after that of a bid month, You actually get paid 2.8 hours per day from your birthday through the end of the month. And that applies just to those who are retiring at age 65. You are considered retired officially on the first of the month following your 65th birthday. So if you are your birthday's on the 15th of the month, and you're officially considered retired on the first of the following month. And so what difference does that make? Is you say, yeah, well, there's some changes in the system. That's when the actual changes in the system happen. So a couple things change on the PRAP website and probably flying together and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. And then the first week or thereabouts, you should get a separation letter from United, say you're officially retired. Definitely hold on to that so you can submit that and show proof of retirement when you need that. And then also they're going to send you a healthcare benefits package so that in that first week, so you can start choosing your healthcare retirement benefits. And then again, you receive benefits all the way through the month that you turn 65, all the way through the end of the month. And that's why you're not considered officially retired until the end of the month. If your birthday falls at the very end of the month, say like on the 31st or on the 1st, and I know there's sometimes some confusion between the bed month and your flying month and your birth month and different things. If you've got any question about your coverage around your birthday and throughout that month, just definitely reach out to someone on the R&I committee or someone that benefits just to make sure there's no question as to what coverage you've got and what your rights are. Because I know there is some confusion on that occasionally if you have an early if you have a birthday on like the 31st or the 1st of the month. So just reach out to them, make sure you got your answers covered and stuff like that. Post-retirement months, the first 45 days of you're going to choose your medical coverage. That is through, if you're going through United, you got 45 days to choose that. In the meantime, between the time you retire and the time you have that plan chosen, I think you're still covered. I think they call it an indemnity plan, kind of a catch-all type plan. And but anyway, you want to get that chosen within 45 days of the time you retire, and then that's why you'll need your Medicare retirement, your medical enrollment number. And then also if you're gonna go on other coverage, make sure you suspend United's coverage. Don't cancel it. Suspend it so you can come back. And then on the retirement transition guide, if you got a few more details on some of those ins and outs, but. Anyway, for right now, that's the big picture. And then as far as if you can roll your PRAP into an IRA, hey, just wait, a couple months so that all your contributions have come in. Your PRAP account never actually closes, I don't believe, unless you actually close it. And then I would still assume you still have an access to the 401k itself. But anyway, and the reason I say that is because and most of our clients, just for the ease of withdrawal flexibility, do roll it into an IRA. But last year, when we had retro pay come out, even though their PRAP account wasn't active anymore, they still had contributions from retro pay going into the PRAP. So so just wait a couple months so that your final contributions are in there. And then remember, before you activate your IRA rolls into your RHA, submit any expenses before those roll over. And the big thing too, so let's just talk briefly. I talk a lot more about this in the retirement transition guide, but I do want to touch on this real quick, and that is your IRMA determination letter. So IRMA is your income-related monthly adjustment amount, and it has to do with surcharges on Medicare. So they're going to look at your income from 2 years ago, and they go, oh, hey, you made a whole lot of money, therefore we're going to charge you more for Medicare. And there is an appeal process to that. I should say it's appeal is not necessarily the right word, because appeal isn't a disagreement. Won't get into it right now, but anyway, what you do is you file a Social Security SSA 44, and it says, hey, basically that says, hey, I've had a life-changing event, a qualifying event, I stopped working, I'm retired. You're going to submit that thing, and then you can potentially get your Medicare cost reduced to what it should be based on your new retirement income. So I've got, again, in the retirement transition guide, I've got more information on that, talks you through it, what, the background of that. So you might actually have to file that thing 3 times because, again, it's a 2-year look back. Anyway, not to go into the details right now, but just know that that is a possibility, something you're going to want to think about. Other than that, hey, start implementing your retirement income and enjoy retirement. So, hey, thanks again for tuning in. I hope that kind of gives you an idea, things to think about in your final 1 to 2 years, if not even longer than that. Thanks again for tuning in. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe and be sure to share this video. Thanks again for the positive feedback back. That really goes a long ways as far as me keeping these videos coming out. If you do want to get a copy of this final year checklist, there's a link in the show notes in YouTube. And again, give us a heads up. Contact us through our website on the contact form or email us at clientservice@unitedwealthmanagement.com if you want to get a copy of the retirement transition guide, or at least notified when it comes about. Hey, appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for the positive feedback. Until next time, fly safe.